I handed my stepdaughter a credit card when she asked. Can I borrow it? I need to buy something. I didn't have cash on me at the moment, so reluctantly I gave her one of my credit cards. Though she's technically my stepdaughter, we aren't related by blood. She's my husband's daughter from a previous marriage. I told her, go ahead and buy what you need. This card is for family use, so please don't lose it. Okay. Despite her occasional attitude, I assumed she understood it was a family card and would go wild with it. But when she returned home that night smelling faintly of alcohol, I had a bad feeling. Welcome home. You're back late. What did you buy? I asked, hoping for an easy answer. She smirked and replied, tonight was a reunion party. Oh, and look at this outfit I'm wearing. It's nice, right? I bought it today and wore it right away. Everyone said I looked amazing. She was wearing something that looked expensive. Suddenly, I felt a wave of worry. Did she really spend a ton of money tonight? She leaned in, still smirking, and asked, take a guess. How much do you think I spent? I stammered. How many thousands did you spend? I organized the reunion party. I booked that luxury hotel near Central Park. 35 people attended because everyone wanted to see me. And since I was in such a good mood, I covered everyone's meal. Some even came in from out of town, so I booked hotel rooms for them. Aren't I just the best? I felt a chill. 35 people. That could mean she spent over $1,000 each. How much did you actually spend? I asked, trying to stay calm. She laughed and said, $3,480. I froze. I had assumed it was only a few thousand, but it was a platinum card with a limit of $50,000. This stepdaughter of mine, who hadn't even earned her own income yet, has spent almost as much as a young professional's annual salary in one night. I asked, do you realize how much hard work goes into earning that kind of money? Why does it matter? Family money has always been my money, she said nonchalantly. And today, everyone thanked me so much. They were only thanking your money, not you. I replied, barely holding back my frustration. Well, that's hurtful, she snapped. And anyway, Alice, you're clearly the wealthiest one in the family now. I guess I can count on you in the future, she laughed and headed toward her room. I knew then that something had to change. If I didn't act fast, her future would spiral into chaos. I immediately called the credit card concierge to explain the situation. I was going to put an end to this once and for all. Over the next month, my stepdaughter Emily was unusually quiet. Apparently, a few of the reunion guests had called her out for showing off and even cut ties with her. Who does she think she is, throwing money around like that? One of them had reportedly said. Emily was furious but said nothing to me. I thought at least some of her friends have enough sense to see through her behavior. One day she came back to me with a smug grin on her face. Hey Alice, can I borrow the card again? My friends and I are planning a spa trip this time. She waved her hand dismissively, as if it was no big deal. Oh, that card? I canceled it a month ago. And by the way, I've removed you from my legal custody. What? What do you mean? Emily stared, completely stunned. I canceled the card. After you blew $3,480 in one night, I knew I had to take control. Wait, what? She yelled. How am I supposed to pay for the hotel expenses? I'll handle the bill myself, but you'll need to pay me back in full. All $3,480 of it. That's not fair, she shouted. It was a family card. I can spend on it if I want. You seem to think there's no limit to what you can spend. But $3,480 is hardly normal spending. My money isn't your money, and you'll learn that soon enough. How do you even know it was me? You don't have proof. Oh, believe me, I do. Luxury hotels have a way of remembering when a young woman walks in with a group and throws money around. Plus, I've already arranged to pay the hotel bill directly, and you'll be paying it back to me in full. The lifestyle you've been enjoying is over, Emily. I want you to get a job and pay back every penny. What? I don't need to work. I'll just ask Dad. About that, your father and I have filed for divorce, and I've also annulled the legal guardianship, so we're no longer legally connected. Wait, what? Why didn't anyone tell me? Where is Dad anyway? He's currently hiding out from creditors, I said. It turns out he's been in debt for years, using other people's money to keep up his business image. He's moving between friends' places to avoid debt collectors. Emily's face went pale. We're not a rich family, Emily. I was lied to you just as much as you were. You're grown up thinking of yourself as some heiress, but that was just a fantasy. It's time to grow up. You'll be paying me back starting now. This is so unfair, she cried. Moms don't usually make their daughters repay them. I'm no longer your legal mother, Emily. I filed the paperwork with the divorce, so we're not even legally family. Oh, wait, so we're really not family anymore? Exactly. But you can still pay me back, as any adult would for money they borrowed. And I hope you take this as a chance to learn some responsibility. This isn't fair. I wanted to be like those Instagram celebrities. Then maybe it's time to start working toward that on your own. You could still try out for modeling or take auditions if that's what you truly want. You'll just have to do it without relying on anyone else's money. After the divorce, I left the house, cutting off all ties with her father and our old life. I found a small apartment where I could start fresh. Now, I'm planning to open my own cat cafe or animal-friendly bar, my original dream before all of this. And as for Emily, last I heard, she was starting her first ever job, struggling to keep up and slowly learning the value of $1. Emily took her first job at a convenience store, and the reality hit her hard. She came home exhausted, complaining about the long hours and the difficult customers. But even though she was frustrated, I noticed a change in her, a hint of resilience I hadn't seen before. She was finally starting to grasp what it meant to work for something. Soon after, she tried applying at a more upscale boutique, but was turned down after the interview. She bounced between different jobs for months, from a cafe to a fast food restaurant, each one teaching her new lessons about patience. The luxuries she'd once taken for granted were now beyond her reach. Yet with each paycheck, she handed over a small amount to me, slowly chipping away at her debt. I knew I'd likely never see the full amount, but I wanted her to feel the weight of responsibility. And over time, she seemed to understand that $1 earned meant so much more than $1 taken. As for me, I began making my dream a reality. I secured a small loan, found the perfect location for my cat cafe, and started the renovations. With every step, I felt a sense of purpose and fulfillment I hadn't felt in years. Now, when Emily visits, there's a hint of humility in her tone, a genuine smile and a quieter, softer approach. She even mentioned her hopes to work towards something more stable, possibly enrolling in college part-time. It took a long time and a lot of heartache, but I believe she's finally finding her way. And for the first time, I'm proud. Not just of her, but of myself. The path was painful, but in the end, we both learned to build lives on our own terms. And we finally understood what it meant to stand on our own 2 feet. My cat cafe became a small haven in the community, a cozy place where people could unwind and connect with the cats we rescued. It felt rewarding to create a space that gave others comfort and helped animals in need. Emily sometimes stopped by on weekends, helping out around the cafe, feeding the cats, or chatting with customers. She even made a few friends among the regulars, and I could see her soft confidence growing. We still had our differences, and the scars of the past hadn't disappeared. But there was a new respect between us, born from hard lessons and earned understanding. Our relationship wasn't traditional, and it wasn't always easy, but it was ours. And maybe that was enough. Over time, Emily moved out, found a small apartment, and continued to support herself. She pursued a part-time college degree in business, something that surprised but pleased me. She once told me, with a slight grin that she wanted to be her own boss one day, just like me. I knew she had a long way to go, but for the first time, I believed she could truly make it on her own. Watching her grow, I felt a sense of closure. It hadn't been an easy journey for either of us, but we have both found our paths. And I realized that sometimes family isn't about shared blood, but shared lessons, growth, and respect. Emily had become her own person, and so had I. And as I looked around my cafe, filled with laughter, companionship, and the purrs of contented cats, I felt at peace. We had come a long way, and for the first time in years, I felt truly at home in my life. As the cafe grew more popular, I realized that building something meaningful felt more rewarding than any financial gain. People connected here over simple joys, and I felt like I'd finally created a place that reflected who I truly was. Every now and then, Emily would bring friends by, introducing them to me with pride, and I could see her confidence blossoming. She often chatted about her plans, sometimes big dreams about businesses of her own. I've been thinking about creating something similar one day, but with a twist. Maybe a cafe that supports local artists too. I'd nod, giving advice here and there, but more than anything, I just listened, supporting her in ways I once didn't know how to. As her ambition grew, she took on more part-time work, juggling studies, and small projects to gain experience. For the first time, I saw her taking full ownership of her life, her finances, and her future. There were no more requests for my credit card or extravagant shopping sprees. She was determined to make it on her own, and I couldn't have been prouder. In these quiet moments at the cafe, surrounded by the soft hum of conversations and the gentle purring of cats, I felt a calm I hadn't before. Our relationship had shifted from conflict to companionship, and our lives had transformed in ways I hadn't expected. I realized that the cafe wasn't just a business, but a symbol of growth for me, for Emily, and for our unique version of family. Perhaps life doesn't always follow the paths we imagine, but sometimes the ones we create along the way end up being just as fulfilling. And as I watched Emily laugh with her friends, her spirit full of hope and ambition, I knew that everything we'd endured had been worth it. For the first time in a long time, I felt complete. And no matter what the future held, I knew we both had what it took to make it through. A year passed, and the cafe had become a hub of warmth and connection in the neighborhood. Emily's confidence grew even more as she stepped out into her own career path, finding her way with grace and resilience. We still shared coffee on quiet mornings, discussing dreams and the steps needed to get there. It was a simple ritual, but it symbolized so much more, a connection that I had grown stronger through all we'd been through. One day, she surprised me with a small gift, wrapped neatly with a ribbon. I wanted you to have this as a thank you for everything. I opened it to find a small plaque engraved with the words strength and heart. In that moment, I felt a swell of pride and love, knowing we had both come so far. Life wasn't perfect, but we'd built something beautiful together, rooted in trust and mutual respect. I hugged her tightly, feeling gratitude for the journey that had brought us here. And as I returned to the cafe, placing the plaque on a shelf where the morning light would catch it, I knew we were both ready for whatever came next. Together, we had learned that life's toughest challenges often lead to the most meaningful connections and the deepest personal growth. And for the first time, our lives felt like they were truly our own, a testament to resilience, love, and the strength to carve out our own paths forward. And that, I knew, was the real meaning of family.